is yours.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Mary Georges. I'm already the founder and really we started the Victory Movement for a long time. I'm so glad to be here. I always be here since we started task force. And also I'm always be community leader, focus more with the immigrants. That always be my passion because I understand my situation. That's why I put in the shoes of others. For today, we have Gloria is going to present, Gloria Mukendi going to present going to introduce a little bit about the Victory Woman, because everybody just always see Mary Georges, but I don't want to just show myself. That's why I didn't want to talk. Everybody know Mary talking too much. And I'm going to, after Glory, Margaret Martens is our board chair. Really always appreciate our board because they work very hard. This is what the organization going through, because ourselves, like Gloria was saying, she have a lot of title for one person, what we do, just to make sure we help the kids. And I'm not gonna want to forget, on Monday, we already exposed the work of the New American for the photo for Empower with a narrative story. Is at the City Hall. Maybe you can pass by to see that too. But Monday is going to be Valentine's Day. Maybe we're going to do something like at 6 o'clock. Thank you. I'm going to leave Gloria to speak.
All right, good morning again, everyone. I'm gonna a little bit tell about the story of the Victor Woman. The Victor Woman was inspired in 2003 by an African woman coming from Congo Democratic Republic, Mary Ngwanda Georges. After facing different obstacles of coming to a new country without knowing the language, the culture, and without a support system to help us succeed and live the so-called American dream, she had to learn the hard way on how to advocate for herself, her children, and her community. Her drive and love to help others immigrant to also succeed led her to pursue her education in human services and a master's degree on organizational management and leadership from Springfield College. So the mission of Victor Women of Vision is to encourage, empower, and nurture immigrant and refugees family to thrive by embracing the culture, heritage as they build a new life here in New Hampshire. VWV fills a niche in the Manchester area as the only ethnic community-based organization focused on family strengthening and led by an African woman. Currently, our major programs focus on mentoring youth to become successful community members, advocating for victims of domestic violence, and assisting our elders to lead healthful and meaningful lives. We serve primarily low-income African immigrant and refugees in Manchester area, but we did also introduce immigrant and refugee from the Middle East, Europe, and some of our Haitian also community. Our staff are all BIPOC, mostly African immigrant or refugee, and we all speak at least over 5 different languages. So we have, altogether, we speak over 10 languages in our office. But during this pandemic, VWV did not let this virus stop her mission and work for the community. In the country, this was the time where the community needed our help the most. So we multiply our effort to reach out to as many people as serving, delivering food, grocery, PPE materials to more than 80 household members, families. We continue our leadership and mentoring and empowering program with at least 45 youth through Zoom. And our case manager work grew even more by helping most immigrant refugees who were lacking basic and computer English skills to apply for different assistance programs and unemployment, since everything became either by phone or by computer. So due to the misinformation also and lack of trust from the African community in regards to the vaccine against COVID-19, we also partner with FireMed, a medical clinic, to administer vaccine against COVID-19 in our office, so that most of the African population with whom we already built trust can come to our office and get vaccinated. And within, I'm sorry, within 3 months, we were able to get at least 25 people to come to get a vaccine in our office. There's also other short-term program and events that we had organized and done. We had done such an IT class for the youth and young adults. We also had, like Mary Georgia said, we had an art and photography class with the youth. If you go to the City Hall Plaza in Manchester, right before the office clerk office, you will see the pictures and story of each student on the wall. We have done also some events such as International Girls' Day events with different speakers who came to motivate the young girls, mostly from Africa. And we also had International Women's Day event, African cultural event, men leadership program, and so on. But despite different challenges we may face as a small nonprofit, mostly due to lack of funds and capacity, we had managed to respond to the needs of our community as much as we can. So thank you. And I'll pass it back to Mary.
Thank you very much, Gloria. I appreciate your presentation to make everybody to understand the meaning of Victory Woman. That's why I say I cannot do all of this myself, but most of the time people see just only me. Now, I don't want to just take my time. I want to just pass by Margaret with the presentation. I think so you're going to put the presentation for Margaret to speak about.
Mary, would you like me to share the slides or?
Yeah, yes,
Okay,
that's
I can
why.
do that.
Yeah.
Great. Good morning, everyone. I'm Margaret, and I just want to give a very quick synopsis of this presentation because for me, it's been a real honor to be part of this. This is a program that has been made possible through a grant from the Department of Health and Human Services, and we started in 2019 and are going in our third year now. And it's been an organic process. It's been fascinating to see it grow because it started as mentoring and then grew into, hold on one second, and then grew into the leadership development. And it's a chain from family, the kids to the community. Okay, thank you. Next. Okay. So training new American kids to be leaders and advocates for their communities offers a better future for them and those they speak for. And then, like other programs, we also work closely with the parents. So it's a family effort with brothers and sisters attending. Thanks. Okay. And here's a list of some of the programs we have. It all builds from the first initiative, which was mentoring. And then from there into leadership, the cross-cultural course, which grew into an advanced class because they wanted more. So we began the first program, which was so popular, we added another, then which is a class for advocacy and networking. And this moved on to a welcoming club so the kids could help other kids like them coming in. Thank you. So first, for the cross-cultural leadership, first the mentors received training in a program designed by Big Brothers and Big Sisters, and they meet with kids following class. Then being able, for the cultural part, being able to bridge at least two cultures and to understand why people behave differently in each one is a gift that should be able to serve the kids well as they grow into adulthood. And we want them to be aware of how important this is. Okay. So the very basis of this program is that the kids strengthen their sense of identity, who they are, while offering them a place to celebrate their diversity and feel safe. They learn to know about their values and their strengths and areas for improvement. And as you know, adolescence is always a hard time as kids learn who they are and who they're becoming. And for immigrants and refugees, it can be very confusing. So the first step in leadership development is to know yourself in a supportive environment. And that's what they learn in this program. Thank you. Okay, next. So the first program on cross-cultural leadership is divided into 5 major segments, all about the introduction to culture and the importance that culture plays in their lives, knowing the difference between American culture and those of the cultures they come from, particularly in the US, the individual is so important, whereas in their countries, the community and the family, the extended family is so, important. And another one, how being on time is so important in the US, but it would be considered rude in other countries to arrive on time. Thanks, okay. So building resilience, and this is what we covered in class yesterday, is so important. They need to understand how stress affects their bodies and tools for self-control so that they can deal with that stress. And eventually, when they're all in agreement, they start with a few minutes of quiet to focus their mind in class. And kids are asked about what gives them stress and how they deal with it. They're reminded of the importance of self-awareness and self-control. And yesterday, one boy said that he even meditates, which the other kids found rather cool. So we'll see how that works out. Okay. And this is our star for our program. It's the Tree of Life. This is a very persuasive tool. And students who come from refugee camps often don't know where their families come from, their ethnic group and language. We help them to find their roots, to rediscover their roots. And we have a values exercise to help them focus on what's important. Almost all the kids say their families are what they value most, okay? And then part of the Tree of Life exercise is their vision for the future, the special people who've touched them, the gifts they received, and what they want to give back. The kids rarely have a good sense of their future, and this grows over time, particularly in the program. And the concept of the people who touch them and then what they will give to others gets them to continue the idea of lineage, being part of a long line beginning with their ancestors. Thanks. And then this is the second important part after the Tree of Life. It's Ubuntu, particularly important for Africa, but also in other parts of the world. It's the powerful African philosophy of I am because you are. And sharing the Tree of Life with students helps them to build the group spirit, which you have through Ubuntu. Helping them understand the power of Ubuntu and being there for each other is essential to the classes working together and trusting each other. And last year when we had to be online, the class that was going on wasn't able to fully build that bond. So we've just having them finish that now before they can go on to the next course. That's why we find it so important. Next slide. So this all builds up to their leadership challenge. And once they've united together, they can give voice to what their problems are. And it's fascinating to watch the reactions to the questions of what is a challenge for you. Their responses just pour out and they own these challenges. And then we get into detailed planning of how can they actually achieve recovering from that challenge. Next. And some of the challenges that the kids have reported from last year is the language barrier, of course, was very hard. The problem of English, not speaking English, was extremely difficult for everybody because they felt insecure. They felt that people were making fun of them. And some could read but not speak. Others needed particularly help to find their way. They would get lost in school. And some, of course, their parents were upset because it was hard to cover the rent and also get groceries. Next. And continuing, for most of the kids coming from the tropics, the cold and snow, if they came in the winter, was very hard. And in addition to wanting to feel accepted, which is true for all kids, but clear for them, is they don't want others to think they're stupid. And this is really important. They feel that if they have an accent, others think that they're not very smart, or that it takes them a while to get used to the new American system. And this is really why we're there, because kids can go astray when they're accepted by the wrong kind of kids, or they retreat into a shell. But in this program, they can bond together to be proud of who they are. Next. So this moves to our hopes and goals. And Central High is well known for its diversity, and we would like this to be celebrated, not just something you're ashamed of that you're different. So moving from their challenges, they talked of how it should be. They said touchingly, we have goals too, but no one ever asks us about them. Now that really moved me. Next slide. Thank you. And Central Pride, Manchester Central High School has, their motto is pride, potential, respect, inspiration, diversity, and engagement. And this is their motto, and the kids feel strongly that they should be able to believe in it and be more visible to all. So this idea of feeling they have potential too, and they can be respected, and diversity is celebrated, is very important for them. Next. Next slide. Okay, so this is the second program that they asked us to start, because the kids wanted to move on and not just stop with the challenges. And they learn in this program how to be part of networks and get things done through working with others rather than feeling isolated. They're trained to advocate for themselves and learn about communication. Next. And this idea of spanning boundaries is behind everything. There are types of boundaries that keep them from reaching their goals. There are a number of different boundaries in organizations, but for the kids, it's basically learning their self-confidence of working with others. And so talking to teachers, guidance counselors, the student council, getting up the nerve to run for office, those can help them reach their goals, and even to speak before the school board. Next. And this is some of the stages of spanning boundaries, as I mentioned already. The first one, buffering, is they need to trust each other before they dare to open up to the other. And two, reflecting, is they need to learn about the views of others that could help or hinder them. They want to find out, what do others do and think? So this is reflecting how others think before they move forward to try and connect. Next. And connecting, the kids were fascinated to understand the tendency to think of us versus them. A number of kids, when they left the program, said that they were surprised by that. And just seeing how this gets in the way can begin to change things, that it's not us and them, it's we. So building the trust is essential. And then in the mobilizing, when all get excited about the same goal, they can work together for change. And that's their challenge, is to get everybody excited. So next. And some of the other useful tools they learn in this class are to build alliances, decision-making, advocacy versus inquiry, how they approach it, active and appreciative listening, they loved, public speaking, they were nervous about, but they did it, and making a presentation. And finally, they learn the importance of two tools: assessment, challenge, and support, and direction, the goal, and alignment, who does what, and commitment. How committed are we to this? Next. So finally, the presentations from the young leaders the last time. This was done on Google Meet, but the kids prepared in a teacher's office and prepared an amazing talk. Okay. Next. So these are just some of the things that they announced during the presentation. They want more people involved. They want a better orientation. Particularly, they want the welcoming club. And they want teachers to pay more attention to immigrants. They presented these and other findings to the school, and the teamwork brought tears to our eyes because the kids were helping each other to organize and to dare to speak up, which was so powerful. So now they're creating the Welcome Club, and the students will serve as ambassadors. And just to give you an idea as I close, one of the students from the first year is now introducing me through the internet on email to a teacher who can help us. I mean, he's seen the power of being able to create networks. And finally, the school is now suggesting that the kids, Mary doesn't know about this yet, build a tree of life for the leadership class alumni, staying in touch and having them come back and encourage other students. It's part of this long chain that started with the ancestors, the families, and the kids, and giving back to their communities. So thank you. That's it.
Thank you, Margaret. Again, thank you to give us this opportunity to present the work, what we do, especially for the kids. Like Gloria said, we have a lot of work we do. I can say too, on Wednesday, the kids was at the school board to advocate for themselves for what we need for. They want to just to expand the work. And I'm going to thank you too for the Department for Human Services, the minority I have with the Barbara Siba for give us that grant, because this is the first grant, like a money we get to do really the work. And I think so we did the work. We appreciate that. And without that money, we could not do the work. And we know we can do more, but to do the work like now too, I become in my age. It's not my time again to jump everywhere. We need more people, more young to be focused, just to build them to move forward. I thank you very much. If you have a question, you can ask. If there is a time, I don't know for, but I give you really thank you to give us the time to show this.
Mary, Margaret, and Glory, thank you so much for your presentation. That was fantastic. And we do have a few minutes for questions. So if anybody has a question, you can either put it in the chat or come on off mute and ask your question. A lot of thanks being shared in the chat. I hope you can see that, Mary and Margaret and Glory, for all of your incredible work.
Margaret, can you please introduce yourself?
Sure. I guess, I don't know if people knew who I was when I started. So Margaret Hosmer Martens, I spent most of my adult life in Africa and in Europe. And when I came back to the States, I was lost until I saw Africans walking around the street in downtown Concord. I thought, this is it. And I found Barbara and DHHS, and they introduced me to Mary. And since then, I've been at home. So this program is wonderful because I can bring all of my leadership training, because I worked for the UN for most of my career as a leadership coach, and I can bring that to help the kids. And the kids are from Africa, which is important for me because that's my connection, but they're also from all over, from Asia and the Middle East as well. It's just great. I feel connected working with them.
Here, Margaret.
It was really good because I know when they give I go back to Barbara, said, Barbara, they give us the grant was just for the you have like the kids come from Africa, but being in school, I have all those new American, they are all students. I don't want to do discrimination. I want to work with everybody. She said, Mary, go ahead. That was really good because we have the world inside the class. Hispanic and all of them was over there. But when we come at the end of for the COVID, when it was locked down, we stayed just with 10 kids who focus. most of kids didn't. There was a thing so they couldn't make it with the to do in the remote. But we did a successful work, and then we're not done yet. We continue to do the work. There is also now we're gonna start with the welcoming in the school, because the kids want to just everyone is coming in the school. They cannot feel the way they was feel themselves. They can show that we are here, we can help you. If you need something with the language, then they're gonna put it in a t-shirt. You wanna support, you can support the Victory Women. You wanna support us for the elders, we always have elders for all of the different, just like the same thing, like in the school too. What we always take care of them. And we have the many elders who are suffering, because this is a task force. We are looking solution for the immigrants, really like an immigrant men, they suffer because they don't know where to go, who to ask. But the women have a little bit a way to go with the Charitable Foundation, and Mary Girl for what the Charitable Foundation give it to ISSIS. We help really the women, but not the men. Thank you very much. Don't forget the display over there at the City Hall. You can go see what the New American done. Thank you.
Trini has just suggested that I introduce myself a little bit better, that I'm also board chair of Victory Women of Vision. And when Mary and I met, it was like magic. And that's when we decided to go big. And so I've been board chair ever since. And I also have been trained in mental health. So I work with refugee women who have suffered from trauma.
I would like to ask if you're willing, if you wouldn't mind putting Margaret, Mary, and Glory, all of your contact email, if you have them in the chat for everyone to have, if you have questions that are sort of swirling in your head and you think of them later, maybe be able to reach out, or maybe thoughts about how you can help the program in some way, support the work. So I thank you so much for your time and your presentation, and most importantly for your work. I think we will, looking at the time, I think we'll move forward.
Thank you, Autumn, for recording.